On June 28, 1914, Gavrilo Princip stood on a Sarajevo street. His assassination plot, a total failure. He had missed his target, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The Archduke's motorcade had passed. Princip's co-conspirator was already arrested. Then a grinding cough. The Archduke's car stalled, 5 feet away. The universe granted a second chance. Princip raised his pistol. 2 shots echoed for a century. 17 million dead. This wasn't a successful plan. It was a catastrophic failure, until a random accident made it work. What does it say about your world that history's most consequential moments aren't planned, but pure, terrifying luck? And what does that mean for the things you think you control in your own life? To understand what happens in that single moment, you need to picture the world of 1914. You are not in a stable time. You are standing on a fault line. The Austro-Hungarian Empire is a sprawling, decaying giant, a patchwork of ethnicities, languages, and religions barely held together by the aging Emperor Franz Joseph. One of these patches is Bosnia-Herzegovina, officially annexed by the empire just 6 years earlier in 1908. To the local Serbian population, this is not an annexation, it is an occupation. A deep, nationalist resentment simmers under the surface, a resentment that you can feel in the very air of Sarajevo. Into this city drives the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the empire's throne. He is not well liked. He is seen as hot-tempered, reactionary, and dangerously reformist by different factions. But he is the future. His visit on June 28th is a deliberate show of force, a display of imperial power on the most sacred day in Serbian history, the anniversary of the Battle of Kosovo. It is an insult wrapped in a state visit. Watching him are the members of a revolutionary movement called Young Bosnia. They are students, idealists, and assassins. Young men who believe that only through blood can they achieve a unified South Slavic state, a Yugoslavia. They are led by a man named Danilo Ilic, and they are not acting alone. Their weapons, 4 pistols and 6 bombs, have been supplied by a shadowy Serbian secret society, an ultranationalist terror group embedded deep within the Serbian military, known by a name that you should remember, the Black Hand. What they were planning next would change the world, but not in the way anyone expected. And this is where the story stops making sense. The plan was simple, and it was desperate. Danilo Ilic had positioned 6 assassins along the main route, the Apel Key, that ran alongside the river. You have to imagine the scene if you had been there that morning. The thin crowds, the unusual lack of military presence, the palpable tension hanging in the summer heat. The first conspirator in line, a man named Mehmed Boshic, is armed with a bomb. As the Archduke's car approaches, he does nothing. He later claims a policeman was standing right behind him, but the truth is simpler. He froze. He lost his nerve. The motorcade continues. The second man in line is Nedeljko Čabrinović. He does not freeze. As the car passes, he arms his bomb and throws it directly at the Archduke. But the driver sees it coming and accelerates. The bomb hits the folded-back canvas roof of the car and bounces into the street, exploding under the vehicle following behind, wounding 2 officers and several bystanders. The sound of the explosion rips through the city. Čabrinović swallows his cyanide pill, a vial given to each assassin for this exact moment. But the poison is old, degraded. It only burns his throat and makes him vomit. He jumps into the Miljacka River to drown himself, but the river in the summer heat is only 4 inches deep. The police drag him out of the water, beaten by the crowd, and take him away. The plot has failed. The Archduke is safe. He arrives at Sarajevo's town hall, his uniform spattered with the blood of the men wounded by the bomb. He is furious. He famously interrupts the mayor's prepared welcome speech, shouting, "Mr. Mayor, I come here on a visit and I am greeted with bombs." It is outrageous. The official program is in ruins. The Archduke must now decide what to do next. Against the advice of his staff, he makes a fatal decision. He insists on visiting the wounded officers in the hospital. This is the moment of hubris that changes everything. To avoid the city center, his security detail decides on a new, safer route. They will stick to the Appel Quay, avoiding the narrow side streets where another attack could happen. But in the chaos, if you were in that car, you would notice one critical detail. Nobody tells the driver. Leopold Loika, a Czech chauffeur, is still following the original planned route. The first car in the motorcade, carrying the mayor and the chief of police, correctly stays on the quay. Loika, driving the Archduke's car, makes the scheduled right turn onto Franz Joseph Street. General Oskar Potiorek, the governor of Bosnia, who is in the car with the Archduke and his wife, realizes the mistake instantly. He yells at the driver, "What is this? This is the wrong way. We're supposed to take the Appel Quay." Lojka slams on the brakes. The large graphene-stiffed engine stalls. He begins to slowly, painstakingly reverse the car. And it is in that exact moment, as the car is stalled and motionless, that a 19-year-old boy looks up from his coffee, his mission a failure, and sees his target sitting 5 feet in front of him. A stationary, perfect target. The worst part hadn't even happened yet, and what happened next was a secret kept for decades. But there's a detail buried in the record that nobody flagged at the time. This was not supposed to be Sophie's death sentence. She was never meant to be in Sarajevo. Royal protocol forbade a woman of her rank, a former lady-in-waiting, a mere countess, from appearing beside the Archduke in an official capacity. But Franz Ferdinand had insisted. Their marriage was a deep, genuine love story, a rebellion against the rigid Habsburg court that had forced him to agree that their children could never inherit the throne. This trip, to a military outpost far from the sneering courtiers of Vienna, was a rare chance for them to appear together in public as equals. When the first bomb went off, his immediate concern was for her. He reportedly shielded her with his body. Now, as the car stalls, she is sitting beside him. Gavrilo Princip does not hesitate. His first shot hits the Archduke in the jugular vein. His second shot, aimed at Governor Potiorek, goes wide. It strikes Duchess Sophie in the abdomen. She collapses instantly, her face falling between her husband's knees. He doesn't yet realize he is dying. He sees her, cradles her head, and begs her, "Sulfurl! Sulfurl!
Sterbe nicht. Bleib am Leben für unsere Kinder.
Sophie, Sophie, don't die! Live for our children." Think about the person you trust most in the world, the one you have built your entire life around. Now imagine your last conscious thought is watching them die because of a choice you made, a choice to bring them with you to a dangerous place. Those were his last words. A thin stream of blood trickled from his mouth, and he lost consciousness. He was dead within minutes. What nobody knew then was the true depth of the conspiracy that allowed this moment to happen. Here's where it gets worse. For years, the story was told as a tragedy of errors, a chaotic act by a few radicalized students. What you have been told is wrong. This wasn't chaos. It was a conspiracy, and its roots ran deeper than anyone was willing to admit. The official narrative paints Gavrilo Princip as the central figure, a lone fanatic. This intentionally obscures the truth. The real organizer on the ground was Danilo Ilic, a 24-year-old schoolteacher who recruited the assassins and provided them with their weapons. And those weapons are the key. They were not random firearms. They were 4 FN Model 1910 semi-automatic pistols, with serial numbers proving they came from a batch delivered to the Serbian army. The 6 bombs were from the Serbian state arsenal at Kragujevac. This was not the work of students. This was an act of state-sponsored terrorism. The organization that armed and trained them, the Black Hand, was not some fringe group. Its leader was Colonel Dragutin Dimitrijevic, the chief of Serbian military intelligence. He was one of the most powerful men in Serbia. He didn't just approve the assassination, he planned it. And here's what should make you deeply uncomfortable. This was not a secret. The Serbian Prime Minister, Nikola Pasic, knew about the plot. He tried to stop it, not by arresting the assassins, but by trying to warn the Austro-Hungarian government through diplomatic channels. His warning was so vague, so deliberately obscure, that it was dismissed as meaningless political noise. Everyone with power knew something was about to happen. They all just let it. But none of that prepared anyone for what the trial transcripts revealed about the final, fatal moments, specifically the role of General Oskar Potiorek. The trial transcripts revealed the name you should have heard from the beginning, General Oskar Potiorek. He was the governor of Bosnia, the man responsible for the Archduke's safety, and the man sitting in the front seat of the car when the shots were fired. The security for the visit was not just inadequate. It was, by any rational measure, non-existent. You are looking at a state visit by the heir to an empire into hostile territory on a day calculated to provoke maximum outrage. The normal procedure would be to line the streets with soldiers. Sarajevo had a garrison of thousands of troops. Potiorek ordered them to remain confined to their barracks. The entire security detail for a route stretching over 3 miles consisted of just 120 local policemen, many of whom were sympathetic to the nationalist cause. Potiorek had received multiple specific warnings of an assassination plot. He dismissed them all. Why? The answer is not incompetence. It is ambition. Potiorek saw the Archduke's visit as a personal triumph, a chance to impress the court in Vienna and advance his own career. A heavy military presence would suggest the province was unstable, a failure on his part. He deliberately chose to risk the Archduke's life for his own political gain. What you now understand, and what most people never will, is that this was not about a boy with a gun. It was about a system so consumed by its own arrogance, so crippled by the petty ambitions of the men in charge, that it was incapable of protecting itself. And what nobody could explain came next. The assassination did not break the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It simply held up a mirror to an empire that was already broken. This pattern of leaders prioritizing personal or political gain over fundamental security, of ignoring clear warnings because the truth is inconvenient to their narrative, did not die in 1914. You see it in the boardrooms of corporations that collapse from internal rot. You see it in the halls of governments that stumble into preventable disasters. The horror of Sarajevo is not that a system failed. It is the recognition that this is how systems are designed to fail. So how did a failed plot and a wrong turn kill 17 million people? The answer to the question you've been sitting with this entire video is this: it didn't. The bullet fired by Gavrilo Princip was not the cause of the First World War. It was the excuse. The great powers of Europe were already primed for a catastrophic conflict. Germany had its Schlieffen Plan and had issued Austria-Hungary a blank check of unconditional support. Russia was modernizing its army and was eager to assert itself as the protector of the Slavic peoples. France was desperate for revenge after its defeat in the Franco-Prussian War. The British Empire saw Germany's rising naval power as an existential threat. The continent was a powder keg of interlocking alliances, imperial ambitions, and military timetables. They were all just waiting for a spark. A 19-year-old boy standing on a street corner after his mission had completely and utterly failed, provided one by pure dumb luck. The shot he fired was not the cause of the fire. It was just the match that someone else then used to light the world ablaze. We returned to that street corner, to a boy with a pistol and a stalled car. That single impossible moment of chance. The world you live in today was forged in the fire that started right there on that pavement. The next time you watch the news and see a small, seemingly isolated event in a distant country spiral into a global crisis, you are not watching something new. You are watching a pattern, a mechanism of history that was laid bare that day in Sarajevo. The most terrifying truth is not in the grand plans of empires. It is in the horrifying power of the accident, the wrong turn, the moment that no one planned for. Tell me in the comments, which part of this stayed with you?